If your mind keeps replaying the same painful moment over and over again, your mind is not trying to hurt you. Your soul just forgot something. That failure you keep replaying in your head, what if it's not here to hurt you, but to heal you? Watch this live, because tonight you'll stop replaying bad memories forever. See, folks, tonight we're going to be talking about a phenomenon that I call the phantom zone. The phantom zone is just that place where you go when memories from the past begin replaying in your mind and they begin conjuring up the old feelings, the old negativity, the old embarrassment. The old depression. When you're just living your life. And that memory from 5 years ago, no, 5 months ago, no, 5 minutes ago, begins replaying in your mind and your body experiences it as if you are living it for the first time all over again. This is the phantom zone. Why do I call it the phantom zone? Because you are dealing with phantoms from the past as if they are present. You are dealing with phantoms from the past as if they are currently here now, as if they are real in the here and now. This is the phantom zone. And so tonight we talk about getting out of the phantom zone forever. And so without further ado, if you're ready to live free beyond fear, welcome here. I'm Dr. Shawn, and I believe you do not need years to heal. You just need one real breakthrough. That's why I invented Transcendent Psychology, and I test it in the real world on real people on my game show, Countdown to Breakthrough, the only game show that heals your soul. Right now, you're on the Breakthrough Live, where we break down the science of healing so that you get your own breakthrough live. On tonight's show, we're talking about how to stop finally replaying bad memories forever. We're talking about living your life in such a way that you no longer have to be assaulted by random memories, random stories from your past that when you least expect them, begin tightening your throat, begin increasing the tension in your shoulders, as if they have a vice grip on your mind. It's like poison to the nervous system. Our job today is to provide the cure. And so I want to begin with a conversation. I want to take it to the street first. And I want to begin with a conversation that I had with a young lady on the street. Her name is Veronica. And I'm going to show you an episode. I'm going to show you a clip from Countdown to Breakthrough. This is where I'm just now meeting this young woman, but watch how the phantoms, watch how these stories, these ideas, this energy from her past is actually affecting her in the here and now. Though the situation is already gone for her, watch how it affects her. This is going to open up our conversation for the evening. Let's go ahead and get started here.
She's challenging, so you if you can.
Okay, you want to watch? So it's you?
Yeah.
Okay, then, all right. Are you up to play?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Are you up to play?
Yeah.
All right, let's rock and roll. What's your name, sir?
Terrence.
Terrence. Todd. Jamaica. James. Bree. Brian. I'm here with Veronica. And even after I finally get people to play, I have to somehow provide years of therapy in a single moment. To teach people the supreme art of letting go in an instant. But how? Veronica, in order for this mind game to work, I need you to think of one thing, it could be big or small, but one thing in life that you wish you could let go of, but just can't seem to. You want to let go of it, but you just can't yet. But some of these problems run deep, though.
Okay.
You have it?
Yeah.
Excellent. What is that thing?
Body dysmorphia.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. When did you notice that it was becoming an issue?
3 years ago.
Okay.
But I made a really big change. I lost like 160 pounds and like it's still there though. Even with this new journey, I'm like still trying to like see myself as the new me, but I can't.
Oh my gosh, that's interesting. So when you say that, because I know all the dudes at home are looking and they're like, well, what she mean? She bad. You know what I'm saying? And so, but that means that there was a transformation that happened physically.
Yeah.
And you are looking for that transformation psychologically. You're looking for that thing to somehow the baggage that came with being that other person, whereas the physical can change, there's other elements that haven't yet. Let's work with that.
Okay. So here we are. We've just met Veronica. And she's saying that she's dealing with body dysmorphia, but you and I can both see that there is the body dysmorphia, the body that she used to have, she no longer has. She has a new body. And yet, it is as if she is still contending with operating in the world as if that old self, that old life is still hers now. See, she's dealing with a phantom. She's dealing with a phantom. How many people do you believe in their own way, maybe it's not body dysmorphia, it's in a different way, are walking around carrying these phantoms from the past that harass them on a daily? Causing people to behave and treat other folks out of pocket because they themselves internally they're haunted by phantoms. And so I'll start with me. I'm going to start with me tonight. Once upon a time, I was broke as hell. How broke was he? Real broke. And that bothered me because I was always the dude that did everything right. Got the good grades, you know what I'm saying? Worked hard. But when everything went wrong and the debt piled up too high, I felt like a failure. What I wanted was just to start over. Not just financially, but deeper down, I wanted to feel like a new person. I was tired of feeling like I was living in a past I didn't ask for. I'm tired of being haunted by phantoms. So I walk into the post office one day and I'm mailing a special letter to the government. And when I go to check out, all my cards are frozen. I can't pay to send the letter. The clerk calls out the obvious. I think there's something wrong with your card. I say, well, try it again. I can feel the crowd staring at me. They're burning a hole in the side of my neck. I keep trying different cards. Nothing happens. The line grows. I say, you know what? I'll just mail this later. And the clerk says, but are you going to pay for this envelope though? Oh no, I get you want to mail the letter later, but are you going to pay for this envelope though? I say, no, I don't even need it. And the clerk yells as if looking to, like she's trying to get security's attention. She says, yeah, but are you going to pay for this envelope though? Now I can see the line is looking at me crazy. The envelope costs $1.89, but I got $2 in my wallet. So I say, sure. I was like, sure. But when she hands me the smallest dime and penny back, it feels like she's giving change to the homeless. That's when I plan. That's when I vow to never feel like this again. And it would be cool. We wouldn't be having this conversation if that was the end of it. We wouldn't be even having this conversation if a situation could just stay in the past where it belongs. But to make matters worse, the $2 missing from my wallet now was a reminder that I didn't even need to be in here in the first place. I didn't get to mail the package. So now you just came in here. I just came in here and lost the last $2 that I had. Over the next few days, I get bombarded with instant replays over and over and over again of that clerk saying, but are you going to pay for this envelope though? And the people in the crowd. It's like every time the thought hits, embarrassment erupts in my chest, crawling up my throat. I get to asking, how did I let things get to this? I start asking what I could have did differently. And as a whole bunch of I should have known thoughts come to me, that's when I start blaming others, especially parents, for not preparing me enough, not teaching me better, not teaching me to avoid certain opportunities I wasn't prepared to receive. Maybe they should have helped me cultivate my talents sooner so I wouldn't be in this mess. Funny how one memory triggers a pattern of emotional wounding that puts me back in a state of survival. Yes, we will be working with this. Had me trying to overthink a future that I cannot possibly predict, as if thinking more about it would allow me to do something more about it. All to avoid a feeling of failure again. all to avoid constantly being haunted by these phantoms. One day, as I'm standing in the mirror, I realized that I'm just looking in the mirror and I'm realizing that, I'm the only one adding meaning to this situation. I'm the only one adding meaning to the situation, meaning to this memory instead of adding love to it. I was the only one holding myself hostage. And so, folks, I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to come back to what happened at the end of that story. But I say that just to say that what we're talking about when we're talking about phantoms, we're talking about understanding that you can be living your normal life and ideas, feelings, old emotions from 10 years ago will assault you right now. It makes no difference. And that would be okay if the ideas from 10 years ago were not convincing about who we actually are today. The issue with me and Veronica was that both of us were dealing with phantoms that were not just talking about some past self that wasn't enough, but making our current selves feel like they're not enough, feel like we're not enough. That was the embarrassment. That was the failure. And so, as we jump into today's lesson, I'm going to circle back around to that, but I want you to understand what I mean when I say phantom, because we're about to cover the principle, the pattern, and the path, but I need you to understand what I mean when I say phantoms. When I talk about being in the phantom zone, the phantom zone is that cesspool of memory that's packed with all of this trauma, packed with all of this negative emotion, packed with all of this negative belief. And it's polluting the way that you see the world, the behaviors that you are consciously and unconsciously choosing. Even if you believe you are no longer that person, you'd be amazed at how powerful these phantoms from the past can be. Oh, you'd be amazed. Let's begin our lesson here. The principle, the pattern, the path. You know I love teaching from principle. But before I do, don't think I don't see you in the chat. Sublime, what is happening? Okay, twin, twin, twin. I see you. I see you. Welcome in, twin. Okay, okay, okay. Furrer. Some of y'all, I don't know your name. I want you to put your name in the chat so that I can shout you out right here on the Breakthrough Live, because we definitely want to make sure that you get some of that clear energy. Eric Hen. Eric, welcome in, welcome in. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so Jovan is in the building. Jovan, welcome up in this baby. Okay, okay, Jovan's in here. Excellent, excellent. So, folks, we're talking about the Phantom Zone. We're talking about being able to get out of the Phantom Zone, to be able to reason from first principles. Because once we understand the principle of how something works, we can find our own path. We can find our own methodology. But first, I have to understand the principle. Let's get to that right now. Let's get to that right now. And I finally figured out how to see all the chat. Okay, cool. Okay, Twin is saying awareness is everything. At what point did you know or feel you were holding yourself hostage? Um, when I couldn't stop the thoughts. Twin, so Twin is getting right to it. Right to it. At what point did you know you were getting? He says, at what point did you know or feel you were holding yourself hostage? When the point was so good of a question, Twin. The point was that point came when I was looking in the mirror, realizing that I was having this memory and realizing that the memory still carried a negative signature, an energetic signature that was actually operating in my chest. I could feel it dropping my frequency. I could feel it as if it was happening all over again. Every time the memory hit, it was as if it was happening all over again. I said, "Oh, this ain't current. This ain't current events. Like, what? This is not happening right now. Why should I feel as if it is, and not just the situation? Because what happens is you have the memory of, oh, how should I get out of this? But then you also kind of count your little blessings. Them $2 that was in my pocket, I was kind of like, okay, cool. What would have happened had I not had the two? You know what I'm saying? Like, was she to call security on a pimp? Like, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, you're getting, you know, what would have happened? And so, what would have happened? I start going down these different rabbit holes, and now I'm still standing in the mirror holding the toothbrush, but it's been 10 minutes, and I haven't started brushing my teeth yet. Mm, I know somebody feels me. Say yes in the chat if you've been there before. I know somebody feels me, where it's like, wait, I've been standing here in my head thinking about something that is not currently happening, and allowing it to affect me psychoneurologically to the point where I leave my present conditions and I'm back in the past, sweating, choking, nervous, looking at people. Mm-mm. Twin says, feel you. Yes, sir. His other twin says, yes. He said, twin says, oh, heck yeah. Okay, so he threw that in there twice. Yeah, Sublime saying, yeah, absolutely. Welcome in, Tanya. I do see you. Twin's wife is in here. Tanya, is it Tanya or Tania? I got to get that right. Okay, I think it's Tanya. It's looking like Tanya. Looking like Tanya. But yeah, so that was the moment. That was the moment, champ. And it was like, okay, what what do you do about that? What do you do? So what you do what you do is remember this principle. Actually, let's go ahead and get to the principle before I keep you jumping. Let me see what I'm so this is what I'm talking about here. This is what I'm talking about here. We need to understand the principle of a thing. We need to understand the principle really behind the solutions. Then we'll unpack the pattern behind the thinking that would even necessitate a solution. And then we'll identify the path forward. So the only principle that I want you to know tonight. Make sure we get in again. Here we go. What I want you to know is that love rewrites or elevates the human nervous system. What I want you to know is that love rewrites, which is to say, it elevates. Love elevates the human nervous system. Now, when I say love, I'm not just talking about just an emotion. I'm talking about the totality of reality. I'm talking about the felt sense of oneness. I'm talking about the deep connection to all that is. It can be harnessed as an emotion, utilized as an emotion, sent as an emotion, felt as an emotion. The emotion is divine. That's just not all there is to it. You understand? So once we can tap into this frequency, once we can tap into the feeling of love, the emotion is key. But once we can not just feel the emotion, but begin to use it, we can overwrite and even rewrite our nervous system. So let me explain. Let me explain how this worked for me. Let me explain what I'm saying. Remember, I was saying I was in the bathroom essentially holding a toothbrush for 10 minutes, and I was like, hold on. By the time I came back to the present moment, I had already felt all of the feels. It was as if my nervous system, as if it was as if my nervous system was back in the past, feeling all of the things that should have been processed in that moment, but carrying them forward all the way to present day. That's an issue. That's an issue. So what I had to do, sitting there looking at into the mirror, I closed my eyes and went directly to the memory itself. Mhm. But when I send love to the clerk, I go back in my mind into the memory itself with the woman, the clerk, saying, but are you gonna pay for this envelope though? I go right back to that situation. Recall the smells, the lights, the texture of the desk of the post office, the people on the line. Go right back to that memory. Right as she's saying, but are you gonna pay for this envelope? Right at that moment, I take the feeling of love that I can feel in the present moment, and I take it back into this memory, and I begin to share that feeling of love with every single thing that is inside of the memory. I begin to send love to everything that is inside of that memory. If I was the one that was adding meaning, if I was the one that was adding a negative meaning to the situation, could I be also the one that adds love to the situation? How might that change me? How might that change the way I feel? How might that change the way I remember? See, when I send the love to the clerk in my memory, just as she says, but are you still going to pay for that envelope though? Just as she says that, the memory still plays as before, but now it has no power. The memory still plays. It's still, I can still, everything's still, but now it has no power. Everything in that memory gets doused with love. It changes how I associate meaning to the memory, changes what I believe about the memory. And therefore, it changes the memory, even without changing the events. Someone say, you understand. Say, I understand. That's because in the place of that overwhelming embarrassment crawling up my throat is just love. In the place of that overwhelming embarrassment is love. I see clearly how love applied to memory rewires me psychoneurologically, reprogramming me in an instant. I can see how love applied to memory rewires my psychoneurological programming in an instant. And watch this. It only costs $2. And it only costs $2. You see, that's the difference. That $2 just 20 minutes ago meant something completely different than it does once I have tapped into the divine origin, the fundamental fabric of existence. Once I have returned to clarity, all of a sudden that $2 takes on a different meaning. The most important lesson of my life. And it only costs $2. Someone say you understand. If you understand. So when we return back to this principle, folks, I'm saying that love rewrites the nervous system, allows you to rewrite the psychoneurological programming of your nervous system such that you can stop in the negative emotions that come with the recurring memories. And without that emotional fuel, the memories just stop coming. See, the problem was is that we were adding meaning instead of adding love. The problem was I was adding meaning instead of adding love. The problem was Veronica was adding meaning instead of adding love. And the meaning she was choosing was negative. The meaning I was choosing was negative. But watch how love comes through and cleanses from the inside out. That's the principle, champ. That's the principle. The principle. Someone say I understand the principle. Just put a yes in the chat if you understand the principle before I move on. That love applied to memory rewrites the nervous system. There we go. Okay, can't read that. Oh, let me see if I can do this better. I went ahead and added this thing at the top. Love applied to memory rewrites the nervous system. You dig what I'm saying? When I take that love back into the memories that are recurring, back into the bad memories, and I can wash the bad memories. When I say wash, what I'm really doing is just redefining the meaning that I'm giving to situations, events, persons. And rather than using force to try and push them out of my mind, I offer them awareness instead, attention instead, love instead. And somehow, because I'm not trying to protect myself anymore, somehow there's no longer a need to. This is key. What are we saying up in here? What are we saying? Okay. Twin saying, yes, I understand. Sublime saying, I understand. Other twin saying, I understand. Tanya saying, you got it. Okay, it's time. Yeah, okay, go right. I got you. I got you, Tanya. All right. Cool. Okay. So. I'm hearing somebody say it does change the events in the present moment. Brilliant. I understand. Excellent. Might I add, for those that don't go to church, this is my church. Say it again. I understand. Okay. He said this is church. We in church. You know what I'm saying? So meaning is projected outcomes, which really is never your intention because love was never a factor in the equation. Say more. Say more, twin. I want to make sure I'm catching that right. Meaning is projected outcomes. Okay. Now that I get. You're saying which really is never your intention. Hmm. I'd like for you to say more. Okay, so now that we understand the principle that love applied to memory rewrites the nervous system, we need to now understand the pattern. We need to now understand the pattern. Like, why do we need such a solution in the first place? What is this principle actually solving for us? Well, here we go. Mm. This is a bro, okay? This is a bro, but this is his brain. Okay. Mm. So what I'm just drawing here is the idea that negative memories, what you could call bad memories, they create these wound loops. Can y'all see that? I should probably write that a little bigger. That negative memories create these wound loops. What's that look like? Well, the other name for a wound loop is literally what I was just saying. It's the phantom zone. That place where you are being constantly assaulted, not just by the events of the past, those have already gone, but being assaulted by how you felt about the event once it happened over and over and over again, as if it is a new wound being reopened every single time you have the memory. That's a wound loop. Welcome to the phantom zone. You are now being both persecuted and prosecuted by phantoms. And somehow, if you are unprepared, they will win and they will wound you over and over and over again. It's the reason that people avoid getting into uncertain situations or taking that big risk in life. It's not so much that they're afraid of the failure the one time, they're afraid subconsciously of what happens when that failure keeps coming back around to remind them that they failed years and years later. It's as if every weekend they get to fail on something that happened 10 years ago. Sometimes every day they get to fail and experience that tragedy over and over and over again on the daily. They're wrapped up in the phantom zone. So how does this work? How does this work? Let me see if I can do this in a clean way. So what happens is you have this event, okay? Something happens. That event gets stored as a memory, and that would be okay, except what happens next. You begin to assign this is a negative sign. This is like a negative sign. You begin to assign a negative belief to that memory. that negative belief see if I can get that. That negative belief creates a negative emotion. This is an N. That negative belief creates a negative emotion. And guess what? Every time you think of this memory, the negative belief triggers, and therefore the negative emotion triggers. Because the negative belief is attached to the memory, and the negative belief is what creates the negative emotion. Every single time that the memory of this event triggers in your mind, it could be something somebody else says, something somebody else did. It could be something you saw on television. It could be something you saw in a movie. You could be in the theater right now experiencing a micro trauma, something that happened years and years ago, something that places you in the phantom zone because you have a untested, uncontested negative belief that is now creating a negative emotion. And the problem is that like a powerful chain of events, like a powerful chemical reaction, anytime the memory is triggered as an event in your mind, the negative belief is attached to it, and it automatically creates that negative emotion. You begin to feel it over and over again. You begin to feel this pain over and over and over again. This is the pattern. This is the wound loop. Welcome to the phantom zone. Welcome to the phantom zone. Someone put a yes in the chat if you understand before I move on. Because as long as you understand that the pattern is that negative memories create wound loops, negative memories put you in the phantom zone, because attached to those negative memories is the negative belief. Attached to that negative belief is the pain, the emotional pain. It triggers and creates the emotional pain anew. Each time that memory is triggered inside of your mind, and you can't really be in control over what somebody happens to say. Someone could be joking with you in the nicest way possible and say that one thing that has you standing in the mirror with a toothbrush in your hand for 10 minutes and you haven't even started brushing yet. Because you're so far gone in the past, dealing with a situation that cannot be dealt with now, that no longer exists, but dealing with it as if it does. Welcome to the Phantom Zone. Okay, I'm hearing yes, yes, yes. Excellent, 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 excellent. Okay, so we've covered the principle that love applied to memory rewrites the nervous system. Cool. Now we know the pattern that negative memories create the wound loops, put you back in the phantom zone. Okay. And we know that's possible because negative memories have negative beliefs attached to them. Those negative beliefs, of course, create the negative emotion, trigger the pain, rebirth it, give rise to it again, to the point where you feel it every single time you have that memory. Okay, so what's the path forward? Here we go. Let me make sure I'm getting all the questions. Let me make sure I get everything before I punch on. Okay, so excellent sounds. Twin saying, if you ever realize you think of every outcome, but what's the one thing that actually tilts you? It's love in every circumstance. Now it may not look the same, but it has the same foundation. Right, right. builds you, shapes you, breaks you, or makes you in every turn. That is love. But it's the unshakable frequency. One can say, I lost everything for love, but in a decade, say I rebuilt in love. Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, so he's saying you could say I lost everything in love. I lost everything for love, but in a decade say I rebuilt in love. He put the in there for me, champ. Like Hey, for sure. That's great. Excellent, excellent thinking. Excellent thinking. Okay, Tanya's saying negative thought leads to negative emotions, leads to negative behavior. Absolutely. 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 Absolutely leads to negative behavior. And then what's interesting is that negative behavior begins to shape future beliefs. The negative behavior begins to shape future thinking, future emotions, and of course, future behaviors. So you get into these feedback loops, these cycles that are vicious. That's one of the reasons I call it the Phantom Zone, because it's kind of like the Phantom Zone in the DC comics was, a place where Superman would send bad guys so that they could never escape. Right. So it's just like a endless abyss where they just, there's no jail that could hold these kinds of bad guys. So they zapped them with a ray and flew them into the Phantom Zone. And that must have been where the idea, the term for me came from. I was kind of like, okay, well, wait a minute. Like that same joint happens. That's what it feels like to be trapped in emotional trauma, to be trapped in the circumstances and events that we believe define us. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like to be trapped by history, or what we call history. That's basically what it feels like to be trapped inside our own minds. And so I was like, oh dang, what that's kind of like that's like the zone. This endless abyss. So we need to find the path out. I provide you with 2 steps tonight. 1 and 2, so there can be no mistaking. 1, then 2, so there can be no mistaking. Step 1. First step is you must return to the memory. It's replaying for you all the time. It does us no good to just try and run, to try and distract ourselves, to try and turn on some music, to try and get into a conversation, to try and busy ourselves with work. It does no good. Those things can be temporary fixes. They can be temporary distractions, rather, but they fix nothing. Temporary distractions that fix nothing. Not only that, but we walk away worse because instead of taking this opportunity to deepen with God, when I say God, I'm just talking about the basic basis of reality. I'm talking about the deep fabric of existence. I'm not talking about a guy in the sky. I'm talking about the sum essence of all universes. We have an opportunity to abide in, resonate with, align with this divine frequency, and we miss it because we're trying to get distracted because we don't want to face the memory. Oh no. No. The first thing is to be brave and actually return to the memory. There's no reason to hide anything from yourself. It's already showing itself to you in the first place. So now all we're doing is, instead of closing our door to it, we open our door to it. Because step two is the next essential component. We can't even do step 2 until we do step 1. You dig? That's kind of how steps work. So here it is. Step 1, return to the memory. Step 2, step 2 is add love, not belief. Step 2 is add love, not belief. Step 2 is add love, not belief. What am I saying? I'm saying that you must retain the ability to allow a memory to surface for you, to allow it to play before your inner eyes. It's still happening inside of your head. You can see it. But instead of judging it, instead of saying, oh, wow, that really was so embarrassing, instead of forming any opinion about it at all, instead of adding any belief to it at all we're going to do is get in touch with the very love that you have for the people you love most in your life, for yourself. We're going to get in touch with that basic core emotion, that basic core frequency. And rather than treat it as a figment of our imagination, we're going to treat it as a substance that we can allow our memories to dissolve in. We're going to take love back into our memory and actually send it, impregnate with love every single person that is inside that memory, every single artifact, every object. What we are doing is rearranging psychoneurologically, we are rearranging what the event means to you because we're rearranging the relationship between things. For me, suddenly the clerk no longer is this antagonistic person asking about $2. Once I send love, go back to the memory, step 1, and once I send love to this clerk in the memory, it doesn't matter what she says. I love her the way her father loves her. I love her the way God loves her. When I go back into the memory and I see all the people on the side staring at me, wondering why I'm holding up the line, I send love to each and every one of those people in that line. And it doesn't matter how long they're sitting there staring at the side of my neck. I love them the way their mother loves them, the way their grandfather loves them. And so now the memory that used to be a problem means nothing to me but love. You don't really need to understand the metaphysics behind any of this. You just need to understand the way that you feel. Once you apply this, understanding, notice how you feel. The feeling will mean so much more than any intellectual understanding. So when we have this principle that love applied to memory rewrites the nervous system, we understand our pattern that negative memories create wound loops. Negative memories push us into the phantom zone, but the way out of the phantom zone is to return to the memory and add love, not belief. We are to return to the memory and add love. It really is that simple. That is sufficient for rearranging the way that your mind has assigned meaning to a memory. Now you make the memory mean something totally different. And your focus does not shift. Your focus is not, it's not a distraction. At this point, if you're rocking with us on the Breakthrough Live, eventually you're gonna come to a place where you're like, oh no, love was the point of life in general. So which means that no thing that happens is a distraction. It's an opportunity to bring myself back into healing alignment with the fundamental force. Notice how when you're in love, it's really, it's not just really difficult, it's actually impossible to experience fear, to experience the separation that you would need to have in order to say, oh, wait, I'm this tiny person that was embarrassed. Love erases the tiny person. And what's left is so much more expansive. Mm. Hmm. Put a yes in the chat if you understand. Put a yes in the chat if you understand. Put a no in the chat if you don't understand. You feel me? Like, because I don't mind taking my time on this. These are lessons that straight up have taken me, I don't know, my whole life to understand. Twin is saying, yes, absolutely. Other twin is saying, yes, understand this more. Feel it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And folks, Sublime is saying, yes, excellent, excellent, excellent. Folks, if you're choosing breakthrough tonight, send this video to somebody who needs this message. Send this video to one person that needs this message. Someone who's been trapped in the phantom zone, trapped in those recurring memories. You'll know them because they're always bringing up some old stuff. They're always bringing up something that happened, you know what I'm saying? 5, 10, 15 days ago, minutes ago, years ago. It'd be more rare if you found some, if you didn't know somebody who could use this message. You did. And the reason I say that is because this moment could change their life. Just understanding that when we go back into a memory, there is a power that we can use, not to avoid things, not as a coping mechanism, but a power we can use in order to step more fully into our divine purpose, into our true gifts, into the state of being that changes people just from being around us, that elevates and beckons people to their highest capacity just by being around us. There's no ego involved in that. In fact, when love is present, ego is not. That's why love always wins. Y'all hear that? Uh-oh. I think it's your boy. Hold on. Oh, shit. I hear that knocking. I hear that knocking. Hold on. Uh, Y'all know what time it is, man. It's time for Breakthrough Turtle. Okay, Breakthrough Turtle done come through. Breakthrough Turtle, it's been like 7 weeks now, 8 weeks. Okay, Breakthrough Turtle, you ain't not really, you haven't let us down yet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm super excited to see what you got. Oh, you have a surprise today. Oh, okay. Well, first, let me see what you got in terms of our quote for the day. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get Breakthrough Turtled up. Breakthrough Turtle pops through. Oh, okay. All right, B. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Hmm. Let me see if I can see that. Look what Breakthrough Turtle wrote. Can y'all see that? Oh, it's not gonna let you see it. It's not gonna let you see it. It's cool. It says, "When you're truly in love, you will never have anything to hide." Jay-Z. So what you thought you was gonna, Breakthrough Turtle from New York. You know what I'm saying? He from Manhattan. So I guess you wanted to find a brethren in Jay from out there. Okay, okay. So Hope says, when you're truly in love, you will never have anything to hide, even from yourself. See, that's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. I don't know how Jay meant to say the quote. You know what I'm saying? How he said it, what context? I don't care. I know in this moment, he's saying, when you're truly in love, you will never have anything to hide. I'm saying, even from yourself. Ooh. Mm. Which means that your memories about what had happened, the ones that want to cast you into the phantom zone, they only gain power when you try to suppress them, when you try to oppress them, when you try to reject them. But notice how when you arrive in this place of love, the memory, the events, the situation, the people, all the things that formerly gave you pause, formerly gave you pain, you can now stand open to not just receive, but transform those very events. Transform the meaning you're giving to them. There's no reason to hide anymore because the memories are no longer sovereign over you, no longer have power over you. Instead, they are neutralized in the light of love. And you stand having overcome the world. But you can only do that when there's nothing to hide. And you can only be that when you've welcomed love. Break the turtle, AB. Like, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Somebody put y'all turtles in the chat. I want Breakthrough Turtle to see this. Hey, put y'all turtles in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know how you be doing this, G, but like, it really means something. Okay. So Sublime saying radical self-love allows you to laugh at those events. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Sublime says even from yourself. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, break the turtle waiting on them turtles to hit the chat. Twin saying, isn't that the truth? I catch myself in the mirror and cannot speak to that truthful being. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Twin put the turtles in. Other twin put the turtles in. Break the turtle excited. Uh-oh. Okay, okay. But break the turtle got something else for us. Hold on. So what you saying? What you saying? What you saying? What you saying? Uh-huh. Okay, so break the turtle basically saying that he's got a special new segment. Breakthrough Turtle is saying it is time for the breakthrough message. Hmm. Okay. Let me do it like this. Okay. Can y'all still hear me? I think y'all should still be able to hear me. So look, this is Breakthrough Turtle. He's introducing a new segment called the Breakthrough Message. Huh. Huh. Let me know if you can still hear me. Put a yes, I hear you in the chat. Okay, cool, 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 cool. So what we're dealing with right now is the breakthrough message. And as you can see on your screen, Breakthrough Turtle has selected 10 different categories. Now, Breakthrough Turtle is going to need your help. So check it out. This is how this works. In the breakthrough message, we're going to watch a random clip or passage together, and no matter how new or messed up the clip is, our job is to find the message in it that takes us higher. You pick the door. We find the meaning. So Breakthrough Turtle is going to give us the category, but then we're going to need you to put a number in the chat that's actually going to select the door for us. So let's go ahead and find out what Breakthrough Turtle talking about. All right. Here go Breakthrough Turtle. Boom. I open up Breakthrough Turtle. Let me get you. All right. Breakthrough Turtle had his mouth closed. Breakthrough Turtle is giving us the category. Let's find out what it is. Let's find out what it is. Okay. Uh. Okay, so Breakthrough Turtle gave us category 5, secret societies. Okay, so right now, what I need you to do, chat, is put a number between 1 and 10 inside of the chat right now. What I'm going to do is take the average of those numbers and we're going to allow it to select our clip. Put a number between 1 and 10. So here we are. We're at secret societies. We got door number 1, door number 2, door number 3. But what I need you to do is put a number between 1 and 10 in the chat right now so that we can select our door together. Every single person watching. Okay, so Twin is saying 5. Twin is saying 5. Y'all chose the same number. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Hold on. Let me do it like this. I'm about to pull the calculator up. All right. So I got a 5 in here. I got a 5 in here. I got a 3 in here. Okay, I got a 3 in here. All right, cool, cool, cool. Wait, he's saying wait. I want door 8. All right, all right. So let me switch that up. Boom. Okay. Okay. All right. So what I'm doing is just putting you in the. What's going on here? There we go. I'm just putting you in the chat, champ. I'm just putting you in the category in the divide this by 4. Okay. All right. So here we go. So Saban, you saying 5 now? All right. All right. We about to. You said the average is 5. But not when you include his 8. Up, Tiny just jumped into the chat. All right, I gotta do this over real quick. All right, so I'm gonna say 5 plus the 8 plus another 5 plus I think Felicity you had a 3. Sublime, you got a Sublime, what was your joint? I think it was a 3. It was 3. Okay. Okay, so now we got Tanya's joint too. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divided by 5. All right, now I'm getting like a 5. So I'm basically hearing y'all say y'all want door number 5. Here we go. You saying, hold on, we got more. What you mean we got more? We're about to go 5 for right now. Okay, here we go. So I'm about to click on this door number 5. I have no idea what's about to show. I don't know what's about to go, but look, all I'm saying is this: no matter what we see, we have to be able to pull a message out that serves us. You dig what I'm saying? That's the whole thing. Okay, that's the whole thing. And you know what? Before we jump right into this, there is one thing I want to do. We're going with door number 5 for sure. But before we jump straight into that, there's one thing I want to do. I want to actually make sure that we know that we will be opening up the phone lines. What am I saying? I'm saying this: that it's time to get a breakthrough tonight. Phone lines are open, and there's 3 ways to participate in the Breakthrough Live. Way number 1. At this time, the phone lines to the Breakthrough Live are now open. The reason to call in is because you have something you want to let go of tonight, something you want to heal from tonight, because you want to break through tonight. There are 3 ways to participate. The first way: if you're carrying something heavy, something you've been ready to release for years but haven't known how, this is your moment. Put 111 in the chat to join live and get your breakthrough moment live right now. You'll be on camera for about 30 minutes, guided gently, and we'll transform the energy together. Or our second way is, if you're not in a crisis, but you know you're meant to go higher, then the breakthrough seat is your fastest path. I'll ask you one simple question on camera that opens a new way of being live. Just put seat in the chat to go higher now. Or if you are not watching live tonight, stay present. I haven't forgotten about you. You may be chosen as the wild card, where the breakthrough happens through you without you coming on screen at all. So there's 3 ways for you to get your breakthrough tonight. 2 of them require that you be on Zoom. All I ask is that you're willing to be on camera so others can experience their healing through you. If at any point you need to pause, we pause. Remember, you don't need the right words. You just need to come as you are. Join me live on Zoom. Okay, so back to the breakthrough message. Here we go. We're about to click on this joint and see where it takes us. Door number 5 is the one that I got.
So, okay, let me just talk a bit more casually now that we're not in the formal setting. I know a lot of you always message me like, can you just say it the way you really say it when the mic isn't on? So here we go. Look, the thing that keeps confusing people, genuinely confusing them, is why Israel and China actually get along very well. And I know online it looks like they don't, because there's outrage and TikTok narratives and a lot of emotional framing. But if you go beyond all that, if you look at elite behavior instead of elite rhetoric, it becomes very clear. Israel and China work together because transnational capital needs them to. That's it. And I'll repeat that because it's the whole architecture, transnational capital needs them aligned. It's not ideological. It's not sentimental. It's not religious. It's logistical. Israel, whether people like to hear it or not, is not just a state anymore. It's a supply chain command node. And China is the manufacturing civilization of the planet. So, hand in glove, yes, that's exactly the relationship. Now, I can slow this down a bit. People ask, why is Gaza allowed to burn? Why is no one stopping it? And they expect some moral explanation or some UN process answer. No, the answer is infrastructural. Gaza is planned territory. It is, more specifically, canal territory. The Ben Gurion Canal, which will replace Suez or bypass it or overshadow it, whichever phrase you prefer, is the true geopolitical prize. And once that route is open, whoever controls it controls Eurasian movement. So then, of course, China and Russia abstained at the UN. Not because they like genocide, obviously not, but because they stand to benefit from the canal's existence. Russia wants Black Sea energy moving south without NATO choke points. China wants a corridor that is not US controlled, not European regulated. So the silence isn't accidental, it's transactional. Now, I want to say this a bit more personally because in the formal lecture space, I have to watch tone, right? But here, you all know me, you've been listening for months, so let me put it plainly. If I'd stayed in the West Yale faculty track, PhD pipeline, I would never have arrived at these conclusions. I would have been trained away from them, politely, elegantly, ideologically. The West doesn't produce scholars anymore. It produces managers of narrative. Coming to China broke that spell.
Okay. Man, Buddy's giving us some information to metabolize here. So what I'll say is this. He's talking about the, Israel Palestinian conflict, but he says that Israel is not it's not really just like a like a nation unto itself. It's like a command node that people want it because it'll be the nexus of trade. That's interesting. Then he follows that up with saying, listen, had he stayed in the United States, he would not have been able to see outside of the university standards. And I can attest that inside the universities of the modern age, there is definitely a biased agenda, right? There is definitely a left-leaning bias agenda, and the idea is that certain ideas you really can't talk about. I personally know for me, there's no way I would be talking about none of this stuff in a university space. That's impossible. And so on one level, I can understand what he's saying. On another level, he's speaking. So this is about a politically charged world. This is about people who are willing to harm others based off of what it can get them. Now, see, no matter how messed up whatever we're seeing is, what's important is to be able to pull out a message that we can use. And so ultimately, when I'm seeing that he's talking about Gaza being a territory unto itself, a territory that that people have already marked, that they effectively they want to take that. You dig what I'm saying? And it's kind of by any means necessary at this point. It doesn't even matter what's true or not. We each know enough about human behavior to know that people often do things in order to get things. That people are doing stuff, including causing wars, going to jobs they hate, getting into marriages they really don't want to be in. It doesn't matter what the behavior is. We know that people are going into it because there is some version of outcome-based thinking. Some version of, if I can just get this thing, then I won't have to deal with this deep sense of lack or scarcity that I currently feel. This clip is helpful in the sense that whatever your stance politically, the idea here is that if we can be an example, if we can show human beings how to move in the world without doing things to get things. We can only do that, of course, if we ourselves are operating from this love platform, if we ourselves are operating from this love frequency. That's because love is its own reason for doing. It's not something that we're trying to force onto somebody else. It's not something that we're not trying to get to a better position, a better place. We are not currently fearful of anything that's happening in our environment. Why? Because we have dealt with our own phantoms. We've dealt with our own phantoms. Some people might say, well, that's well and good, but you ain't talking about understanding strategic trade relationships and how we have to make sure that we stay on top because of this, that, and the third, and this, that, and the third. I'm saying this, that what you win with violence, you lose with violence. This notion that violence begets itself, which comes out of most recently comes out of the Bible, that what you win with violence, you lose with violence. Human beings are at a place now where we must go beyond our prior ways of doing things. The coordination system, war is a problem in the sense that, not because it's bad in the sense, but it's a problem because it interrupts human progress. As we talked about a couple of weeks ago, problems that were once solved, formulas that were once figured out, those get burned down, those get crushed, those get redacted, those get decimated during warfare. So human beings are always, if we take 2 steps forward, we take 3 steps back, because we're constantly looking to get things, and we're willing to use violence in order to do it until it angers the people and they retaliate. Now you're defending yourself. And maybe you can win once or twice or 3 or 4 times or 5 times or for 500 years or for even 1,000, but never 2,000. Eventually the empire crumbles and its knowledge now gets recycled into either history or the abyss of time. So I think it's valuable to see something like this and to bring what we're saying here. Yes, we're talking about love helping you on an individual level, but make no mistake, this is for everybody. This is for everybody. This is something that everybody can understand, this program, and begin to make use of it. And it completely changes the way that we interface with other nations. It completely changes the way we interface with ourselves internally within the nation. I don't see a point in being so quick to say, oh, you're naive. Let's live from this new place and then see what makes sense. when we have new vision, when we have new sight, new eyes for seeing, from that standpoint, let's find out what makes sense. Because there's not a single person in this world that wants to live life without love. Every single thing that we're doing is for that. And so let's just give it to ourselves and then figure out who we are. And then figure out who we are. It's what you want anyway, so let's give it to ourselves and then let's look at our world anew and see what options are actually available rather than the ones we're afraid to admit are even on the table. That's the message that I'm getting out of it. That's the message that I'm getting out of it. That there is a way forward if we are brave. That there is a path forward if we are willing to love. And so, folks, with that, I'm curious as to what y'all think. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you ever heard of this guy before. Um, looks like his name is Professor Jang. It's fascinating. And he's talking about the universities being places where, yeah, so it's Twin is saying I agree. He's talking about universities being places where he had to, the Western universities being places where he had to get up out of. Yeah, there's so much that I could say, but yeah, I mean, you get censorship when people are afraid of uncertainty. Twin says I should say I'm Twin and I approve this message. Hilarious, hilarious. Yeah, I mean it's one of those things that we have to make sure that when you think about the current issues that are happening right now, it took me a long time to realize that the problem is not any one particular nation or group or what the problem is human ignorance. The versions of, you know, empire, the versions of the powers that be, the versions of whatever secret intelligence groups that you can point to, like they're just the latest manifestation of a deeper ignorance. What happens when an organism sees itself as separate from the totality of existence and so has to fight to defend itself? Rather than dissolving the illusion, they'd rather dissolve another person. I always want to come back and help people understand what the primacy of the gravity of the work that we do here is. We're talking about transforming the way that people psychoneurologically interface with existence, and therefore with each other, and therefore with themselves. It's a completely different way of moving. And it connects us with something that's greater than ourselves. And that's why, as we move, tonight's the first night that I want to do something called the wild card. If it is true that this love situation, this love frequency, if it is the basic basis of reality, then perhaps it can connect us with people that can't be here tonight, but nevertheless could benefit from what we do here tonight. And so, what I'm going to do right now is connect with the field. I want to connect with the field. I want to connect with somebody who is going through something but could not be here on the live tonight. But I want to work with them as if they were on the live tonight. And I want to help them transform energy as if they were on the live tonight. And perhaps together we can find an example of what it means to connect with this universal frequency. And so as I go into this state, in order to speak to this person who I don't know who it is yet or what their issue is, but I do know that once we find it, I do know that there will be a solution that makes itself available, a conscious transformation technology that makes itself available based off of that situation, whatever it is that we encounter. And because this person is not here, the kit that we could use may be quite beneficial to you, or it may not. The point is for it to be beneficial to that unique person. The point is for it to be powerful for that unique person. Let me get to it. Let me get to this. Hmm. Right now, I'm connecting with a Sam. Samuel. I'm connecting with a Samuel. They go by Sam. I see you. Sam is very tall. Sam is a good man, but he's struggling right now financially. I'm seeing that he's struggling to maintain his mortgage. Sam is one of those men who has a lot of work to do around the house, but he gets to it. Cleans the gutters, cuts the grass, trims the hedges. Sam is a working man with calloused hands. He reminds me of someone I know. And when Sam lays his head down every single night, as of late, he's been looking forward to sleep the most because it means that he doesn't have to He doesn't have to take his problems with him. Sam's got letters on his kitchen table, but rather than waking up with a zest for life, with a willingness to engage with the day, rather than looking forward to happy days, Sam is looking forward to happy sleep. Because at least then he doesn't have to deal with the money problems that will be waiting for him when he wakes up. And Sam will be up at 6 a.m. just before the sun. Sam, welcome to the Breakthrough Life. There's something that I need you to know, Sam. I need you to know that you have power. I need you to know that you have power welled up deep inside of you and you can release it tonight. Sleep does not have to be the best part of your day. You can awaken to this higher dimension within yourself. You do have power over the thoughts that say you are not enough, that you haven't done enough, that you have failed. I know those thoughts stand guard around your bedside, waiting for you to wake up so they can attack you again. Remind you of how far you've fallen. Oh, but Sam, I'm here to show you the most powerful sword and shield that lies within. If you're ready, Sam, I want to share with you a simple conscious transformation technology. It's a KIT for short. Yes, this one is called Click X to delete. Sam, right now you need to close your eyes and take one breath with me. Inhale. Exhale. At this time, Sam, I want you to open the floodgates of your mind. Allow whatever appears to you to appear to you. Simply notice your thoughts as they appear in your mind. Catch the first thought that appears. What is it? Name it out loud. Sam says lawn care. Excellent. There's no need to hold on to any of these thoughts. Let them come and let them go. Because in a moment, we're going to go directly to the thought that says you failed. Allow that moment to resurface in your mind, the moment where everything began to fall apart. Go back to that moment. You know it well, don't you? Because it replays for you twice a day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day. You can see the bank denying your loan. You can see the bank denying your assistance, even when you desperately needed the money. Go right into that memory, that single memory, where you can see the bank teller, your wife standing, actually sitting by your side with her purse and her hat and her gloves. See the sunlight pouring through the bank windows. See the entire situation. Recall it. Hide nothing from yourself. Notice the feeling, the emotion that's attached to this memory. Notice how it feels. Notice that sensation in the pit of your stomach. Simply notice. At this time, I want you to see the memory as a single image on a screen in the theater of your mind. Notice that this screen has a small defect right in the upper right-hand corner. There's a dark spot on this screen that this memory is playing on. A faint dark spot, and I want you to see that dark spot as belief itself. The dark spot on this screen represents the belief you've attached to this memory. The dark spot on the screen represents the negative belief you've attached to this memory, that belief that says I failed. It's the same belief that says I am not enough. Notice that on this screen in the theater of your mind, this memory is playing, and in the top right-hand corner is a dark spot that represents the belief you have attached to this memory. But right in this dark spot, right in the corner, there is a little X. It's just like the X on your computer screen, the X that cancels out and deletes whatever application the X belongs to. In this case, the belief has an X. If you click the X, the belief that says, I have failed, the very one that also says, I am not enough, in your memory, Sam, on this screen, find the dark spot of belief and click the X right now. Notice that the belief fades away. The belief deletes immediately. And all you are staring at now are just a series of images that no longer have your belief that they are a problem. Notice how you feel. There is one more step, if you're willing, Sam. You know that love that you have for your wife? After 20 plus years of marriage, do you know that love that you have for your wife? I want you to feel that love radiating in your chest right now. And imagine that this love is the kind of love that you can shine anywhere. And that everywhere you shine this love, becomes love, begins to shimmer with love. And as you're feeling this radiant light of love in your chest, the very same that you have for your wife, I want you to see this love radiating your chest as a white light. And going back to the memory of the bank, I want you to shine this light from your chest, this light of love, shine it onto the total memory image in your mind. Shine this light of love on the bank teller, the desk, your wife sitting next to you, the ceiling fans, the windows, the entire memory gets covered in this shimmering light of love, the very same that you feel for your wife every single day. Don't you know that God exists inside of that love? Don't you know that God exists inside of that love? She is your reminder that you can shine this light onto the memory itself. And notice that when you do, notice how all of your emotions purify. It is as if space is opening up in your throat again. As if the inside space of your body is expanding again. It is as if your soul is drinking clear water after being riddled with thirst. Notice that the memory and its images are no longer phantoms to you. Indeed, in the place where the phantoms used to be is this shimmering, radiating light of love, making the memory sparkle itself. How marvelous a gift. How powerful an opportunity. Sam, anytime thoughts come, I want you to recognize your power to observe, to stand back and observe those thoughts, to delete the belief from those thoughts, and then to engulf and surround those thoughts, drench those thoughts in the light of love. Sam, I know that when you do, sleep won't be the only thing you're looking forward to. Because you'll understand the power of being awake. When you're ready, take a deep breath in, exhale out, and thank you for allowing me to connect with you on the Breakthrough Live. Folks, I've never done that before, but what I'm wanting you to understand is that the process for dealing with our phantoms is really a process with facing ourselves. It's a process of facing ourselves. And so these opportunities, they present themselves every single day. And perhaps you can relate to somebody who's like Sam. What's important is that when your own thoughts begin to march on the battleground of your mind, you'll be able to stand back and observe and remember why they came in the first place. And so there is something that I want to offer you. I think every once in a while it's good to have a situation where we can go straight to what love is. I think every once in a while it's good to have a situation where we can go straight to what love is. So there's no confusion. And so what I want to do is provide that one test, that one opportunity. The following kit is something that we've been talking for a few in our past sessions. We've been really dealing with awareness, getting you into a place where you can understand the mental position of awareness. That's how we've been closing out our shows. But tonight, I want to close out with something different. And I think that it's one of these powerful opportunities to just see and experience what I'm talking about when we talk about love, because it's all I'm talking about these days. And so the former practice was for Sam, but this final one, this one is for you. And regardless of what happens, this is the exercise that I highly recommend coming back to throughout the course of this week and just practicing and practicing and practicing, because if you can get this, if you can get this, you get everything. I was debating if I should do it tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and do it tonight. This will be our closer for this week. And so let's go ahead and get to it. Okay. What I want you to do right now is think of love. What would love feel like? What would it feel like if love were growing in your chest at this moment? Picture love as a glowing ball of white light radiating in your chest now. Feel the warmth of love vibrating in you. Love is growing stronger within you each second. Picture this glowing ball of white love light expanding from within your chest, completely surrounding your entire body. Your entire body is covered in love from the inside out right now. Feel your entire body hum in this white light of love. Rest here. Whenever thoughts appear to you, as you radiate in love, whenever thoughts appear to you, as you radiate in love, expand this white light of love to the thought itself. See the white light of love engulfing the thought and cleansing the thought from the inside out. See the white light of love engulfing the thought and cleansing the thought from the inside out. Once you have sent love to the thought that appeared, simply return to abiding in this radiating white light of love. Notice how you feel. Notice how no thought can disturb this white light of radiating love within you. Whenever negative emotions appear to you, as you radiate in love, expand this white light of love to the emotion itself. See the white light of love engulfing the emotion and cleansing the emotion from the inside out. Once you have sent love to the emotion, simply return to radiating in the white light of love. Notice how you feel. Notice how no emotion can disturb this radiating white light of love within. Expand this white light of love from within your body and spread this white ball of love light until it fills up the entire room you are in. Rest here. Now expand this white light of love from your body and your environment until it covers the entire world. Rest here. Now expand this white light of love from your body and your world until it covers the entire universe. Rest here. You can live your life from here. You are home. Abide in this love. Do only the activities that resonate with this love. You are free. Take one deep breath with me. Inhale. Exhale. Hmm. Folks, that is the exercise. That is the kit. That particular kit is simply called Love Light. And I believe that kit is all you need in order to bring yourself in alignment with this foundational frequency, which happens to be the highest frequency. And so I just want you to know that if fear is our only enemy, then we bring heaven to earth when we transform our minds. I'm Dr. Shawn, and we were not sent to impress our people. We were sent to transform our people into a light for the world. For God's universe opens to all who believe in breakthrough.